Hello, it's Jay here with my March TBR, which is, I think, my first TBR. I am a Sagittarius. I am whatever on the Myers-Briggs is unorganized and a layabout and that. But I'm also sort of fellow that if you go into a grocery store for one thing, I can do it. But if I have two things, I need a list. And because March is going to be such a busy month, I decided I better have a TBR, and why not film it and throw down the gauntlet? So I finished Bring Up the Bodies, which of course I didn't bring down with me. I finished it. This is February 28th. I finished it. I'm ready for The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel, which varying reports. I think that hard copy might come out on March the 5th. However, the Kindle, which is what I'm going to get, is coming out on like March the 10th, which, you see, I'm reading this with following Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse and his cromwellathon. And so the idea is that we're supposed to get the whole book done in the month of March. It is a mammoth book, which leads me on to the good thing about reading The Mirror and the Light in March is that Jason, also with Lukash at Totally Pretentious and Alex at Big Al's Books, they host the March of the Mammoths, where you have to read a mammoth. And at first I was thinking, it's like, oh my God, is Jason going to expect me to, if I want to participate in March of the Mammoth, I'm going to have to pick up yet another book to go along, because that would be insanity. We'll get to that later. I'd have to pick up another book, but thankfully, apparently, with the different various copies of it, it's going to be over 800 pages, at least in some. Maybe in the English edition, maybe the American edition would be under 700. But I've had the dispensation from Jason that you can use you can use The Mirror and the Light for March of the Mammoth, which is like, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to go through the insanity of actually reading two mammoths in the month of March, because that would be insane. That would be insane for me. I am not someone who reads books like this in an afternoon. Steve Donoghue, get to you. So to continue Cromwellathon, I will, I guess, we'll see March the 10th or March the 5th, or whenever it downloads from the cloud into my Kindle here, which is why I've been holding that up in my thumbnail. I'll be reading The Mirror and the Light. I can get the first chapter of it on the Guardian website apparently, so I'll probably read that just to get a little bit of a jump, especially if it's to the 10th. That's going to make it a big crunch time. Though Jason's also been quite good at saying, look, we're starting in March. It's the spirit of the thing. If you don't happen to finish your mammoth in the month of March, that's okay. And I believe he himself, for various reasons, didn't finish his mammoth last year in March. So we've got that. So I thought, okay, I'm free and clear. That's it. I don't have to read any other giant books in the month of March. Then we come to Steve Donoghue, who has been hosting Trollope read-alongs. We did the Prime Minister series, the Palliser series last, and he had taken a break. And it was like, okay. And Steve gets the bright idea in the month of March. He's like, hey, we should start up the reading of Trollope's again, which is, I so enjoy reading Trollope's with him. I was like, okay, well, he'll pick a shorter Trollope, and we'll read that, because it's going to be the Lonely Trollops. But then Steve goes, wait a minute. This is the March, the March of the Mammoths. We should pick a mammoth Trollope. Not only should we pick a Trollope, we should pick the longest Trollope there is, which is The Way We Live Now, 100-chapter monstrosity. Actually, it's a 100-chapter monstrosity, which actually isn't even as long as that pint-sized book, The Mirror and the Light. It is 776 pages, The Way We Live Now, in the Wordsworth edition, and 816 pages in the Penguin edition, so it qualifies as a mammoth. So I really enjoy Trollope, and I've really enjoyed doing it with Steve, and I can't be left behind. I got left behind on the Palliser series, and I caught up. I caught myself up. And I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to read The Way We Live Now. I'm going to kind of read it. I'm also going to listen to it on audio. I've actually been cheating, because you're always good to cheat for stuff like this. I've actually listened to the first 10 chapters already of The Way We Live Now on LibriVox, which so far so good is a really good recording of it. It's not professional readers. Actually, what I find is if I speed them up a little bit, they suddenly sound a lot more like professional readers, but not actors. I don't like acting out of my books. I like more of a kind of a straight read. So yes, that's book number 2 in my March TBR. So this isn't going to be a long TBR, don't worry. So and then Steve again. Not only does he, because Steve, he doesn't wear pants, therefore he's a professional reviewer, so he reads hundreds and hundreds of books each month, not like someone like me who strains under the yoke of 2 mammoths. But he also came up with he didn't come up with, he got invited into another read-along, which is is Marsathon 2020, which is where within in the year of 2020, the Pints and Paperbacks, Book Invasion, Paperback Junkie, Richardson Reads, and Steve Donoghue will be hosting a read-along of the 11 Barsoom novels by Edgar Rice Burroughs, which are kind of the original pulp science fiction fantasy novels of John Carter, who is a Southern gentleman, Civil War vet, who goes into a cave, falls asleep, and some kind of transmigration happens, and he ends up on Mars, but of course not scientific Mars, but a fantasy Mars where there's air and there's multi-limbed creatures and there's hot babes who are completely red. He got chased into that cave by people that he calls red men, which Indians, native peoples. So this is definitely a book written in 1917 and it has all those interesting things. There's a comment early on in the book where he's beloved by the slaves of the plantation, so that gives you that it's fun, pulpy fun. It's also definitely of its time. It was written in 1912, so it's like, oh, I need to do that. I've actually read A Princess of Mars before. So I know what I'm getting into, but it sounded just like too much fun to go through the 11 novels of the Barsoom series. So that is it. I am reading. Let us recap for all the people who are like me and have trouble who need a list once you get over 1. I'm reading The Mirror and the Light. The Mirror and the Light. Actually, my plan is for all these readathons, because everything is going to be put on everything is on the Kindle. I'm going to get The Mirror and the Light beamed to this thing. I have a collected works of Anthony Trollope on here, and so when I'm reading The Way We Live Now, I'm reading it on the Kindle. And John Carter of Mars, I bought a 11 pack of all 11 or 12. There's one of those numbers at the end, which is basically just a rework of one of the earlier novels. But I'm gonna read everything on the Kindle. So actually, what my plan is for my audio visuals, because I'm all about the visuals on this channel. Look at the blossoming blossoms on the tree. This is all about flash here, folks. I'm probably just gonna print out copies of the covers that I like and just stick them on the front. Stick them on the front of here, so I have something to hold up and natter about and whack on my head, which is one of my favorite moves. So yes, you'll be seeing. That's what you'll be seeing me do in March to varying degrees. I don't know, because I know for Trollope in the past, I've done. I kept up with Steve by doing weekly updates, and we've been doing weekly updates with cromwellathon. I don't know if I'll be how it'll pan out this week, because there's going to be a lot of stuff. Definitely for Princess of Mars, I'll probably just do an individual review at some point, and then once I've finished reading it. It's the nice thing about the Princess of Mars, it's so short, it's like 186 pages maybe, that I can, back when men were men and they could write really teeny little novels. Of course, Anthony Trollope is a super man, and he just writes gigantic novels with no sweat whatsoever. And Mantel, of course. So, which I'm very excited about. I'm very excited about all this. at the moment. By the end of March, I will be a broken man, though. I will go away and only read slim volumes of poetry, which are actually even tougher. I'll read slim little individual poems from individual selections from big anthologies, actually, and just do that for a couple of months to recover after all this madness. This is a warning to all the YouTube people out there. Watch out! You get sucked into all these readathons, and the siren call of Steve and Jason and all you other wonderful folks that just get us excited about reading. But yes, that's where I'm at for March. How's March going for you guys? Ugh. It's going to be a toughie, but it's going to be a fun toughie. So I actually do feel from last March to this March, I actually do feel my reading muscles actually do feel a little bit more built up. I was a 90-pound weakling. Now I am a 100-pound weakling. So I'll get in the gym there with Steve and have to pump all those books, build up those reading biceps. We'll see. All right. More videos later.